Texturing secrets. So there is one thing that I kind of want to cover as far as texturing goes, and that's texturing inside the Unreal Engines. It's a little bit different as far as texturing within Maya. Take for instance this part. This part has tons of overlapping UVs. See, they're all overlapping. But each one of these things have their own separate texture. Okay, let me demonstrate that. So let's separate these out and kind of look at it a little bit. These parts right here are part of their own UV set. So I'm going to mesh combine them. You can see there's no overlapping UVs for these parts. Those get applied to material. Let me show you the material for that. So you can see this is the material for this one. Right click, select objects with material. This material runs this show. So let's kind of graph this material. So the material is very simple. I got a Lambert and I got the color map attached to it. This will not translate into the UDK, but it will do one magical thing. And the magical thing is if I have a texture assigned to this one and a texture assigned to this one and a texture assigned to this one. So these are all three separate materials. Material 1, Material 2, Material 3, and this one would be the sharing the properties of Material 3. In other words, any time it sees an instance of this object, it will know that material and this material share the same material. Also meaning that I can take and group all these objects as separate and combine them into one. So this large chunk, now that it has 1, 2, 3 materials, I'm going to group it all together. That means I have 3 stacked shells. What does this do for us? Well, when we did the export, when we went axe mesh, okay, nothing really happened here. Let's see where it happened. In the UDK, what happened? Well, it imported a static mesh as a gate topper. So let's look at that gate topper for a second. So here's all 3 of those combined. If I double click here, notice it gave me some material channels. Okay. Here I have a material that I assigned in. The material is this one right here. Okay. So here is my material with a simple texture. Just like we did in one of the previous chapters, this is very simple to do. Also, I have another material in here. Right here. I need to graph this to it. Well, let's highlight this material and find out what channel this is going to. This is the hard part, is trying to figure out what channel this attaches to. What I'm going to try is this channel right here. That was the wrong channel. So I could type in none. Try this channel. There we go. So that material goes to this channel. Lastly, what I did, I imported one last one in here just to show you how it all works. So here is the texture. If I right click on it, I can go into create new material. This will be a shortcut for me. So that I don't have to import the texture into the material. It also gives it a really good naming convention. That way it goes texture, then material in my content browser. Let's double click it. It will not attach it, however. It does not know that. So here, if I attach this back to diffuse, apply that material, and close out, I can go back to my static mesh and fill in that last channel. With the material. Perfect. That means anytime I import a new texture into the engine and overtopple it, it will automatically update the door based upon importing it as the same name. Just like I did with the static mesh when I fixed it. You know, when I added this decal over to the other side, it automatically updated the door. Okay, let's maybe put together the door all the way, just to give you an idea. This door shows no black. I don't think so. It's the door with the little forks. Oh, nope. It's the door that is got the bumps inside. So this one right here. You can see this one only has one material channel. So it's a lot of surfing around, getting all the content around, put each one on a material, and making sure it mapped out correctly. Then lastly is this one. So let's find this one. Here's the texture for it. Right click on it, create a new material. Go to that door, find that material, and mount it. Okay, so what does that all mean? I have now inside my game the door, the white door of Gaudamon here, or whatever it is. This is a placeholder texture for what I would have painted. So that didn't change a thing about the animation. Everything still works as far as that counts. What we do have to be aware of is this. See how the door goes into these little slots, technically making a shadow. So we would probably want to make these a little thinner. Again, that's an update issue. All you do is have to update it based upon the static mesh, and that should fix something in that account. We do not want it to clip inside. We want it to stay within the box, not clip. On the outside, you can see that this doesn't occur. Why that is the light is coming in, not going out. So we have to be very cautious about when we do stuff like this. If I ever want to update any of the textures, I can do that also. let's take this for example. I'm just going to take and make something on this door. Really, something really super simple and stupid. But this is the outside the door where I'm seeing. Let me just put a line here, okay, on a new layer. That way I can get rid of it later. Okay, let me paint a little bit on here. So this one's going to have an orange spot. So I could texturize this whole entire thing. Save as. TGA. This is gate color map. When I go back to the UDK, I can go into content browser, import gate color map, hit OK, replace, I should have an orange spot on the door. There's my workflow. It all starts with making sure your naming conventions are really nice. You know, I can't stress it enough. I get students that are very kind of lazy about that, but it all pans out. Look how I have these named. Gate door left, gate door right, gate mid, gate top, and then gate. These are the color maps. What happens if I get normal maps? Well, I would just put normal map, NM. But you could imagine this door could get very complex based upon the number of textures you have added to it. So you have to be very careful with the naming convention. And you can also see that if there's a break in your workflow at all, you're going to be thinking too much. So you don't want that. You want to be able to flow from one application to the next. All right. So that was I just want to have a brief demonstration of how to, put stuff in, take stuff out, texturize based upon a weird UV set, because I know this would be, it looks illegal to a new student. You can't have stacked UVs. Well, you can, but you got to know that each time you have a shell, it translates to a material back in the UDK. I guess an easier way for a new student to get their heads wrapped around this also is, instead of having the textures in here, you can also just have a blank material like a Lambert, and take this maybe and turn it red. Control right click to shell and assign this just red. You can do it as simple as you want. You can have textures applied to it or just plain materials, but you have to have something to separate these things out. So in this case, I could have a red one here, a green one for these parts, a blue one for these parts, and etc. and so forth. That way when I translate it out, export it into the UDK, it will have material channels. Mounted here. What would be nice is the fact that the material might be named the same way, but it will never be that way. You're just going to have to find out which channel goes to what. All right, so there you go. Enjoy, and until next lesson.